Hey, welcome back to all my cloud scholars, and thank you for watching this video. If this is your first time at the page, this is the SC-100 course. It's a free course that I am doing to help those to prepare for the exam if you're going for your Microsoft Cybersecurity Expert certification. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to show you how to get into management groups and design your management groups. So one of the first things you should do is you should have some type of program that you're using to do your management group design. I did show you a PowerPoint in the last video. Honestly, I really don't use that to do management group designs because sometimes management group designs can get very lengthy and you're not going to be able to fit all that in a PowerPoint slide. So you'll want to do something like a Lucid chart. That's one that I use a lot. I like Lucid charts. Some people like Visio. I'm not really a fan of Visio like that. I just think it's very complicated. Perhaps I didn't give the application enough time. Anyway, but this is where you would see your management group. So one thing when it comes to a management groups, there is the RBAC and there's all the other stuff that tie into it. So if you come in here into settings, you can change the default management group. So default management group for new subscriptions. This management group is the management group where all new subscriptions are placed when they're created. So it's very important for you to understand that because sometimes you may have a manager group, drop into, let's say, prod. If the prod was one of the first ones that you created, it may drop into prod. You don't want it going into prod because you're going to have policies and you're going to have regulatory things that you want there. I have one client that had the management groups drop into a certain, subscriptions drop into a certain management group, and then they would have to move it, but then that can cause you some security gaps. So this is a way for you to change the default manager group. Over here, it says permissions for creating new management groups. By default, all Azure Active Directory security principals can create new management groups. When this settings turn on, security principals must have management group right access and create new management groups. Require right permissions for creating new management groups. So this is a way for you to delegate what and who has access to your management groups. So now coming back here to overview, we have the option for create. We have the option to add a subscription, refresh, and all this other good stuff. So this is my manager group here. I have another manager group here, and I already have another manager group down here. And then within these management groups, I have different subscriptions as well. So if I wanted to come up here and I wanted to create another manager group, it was simple as this. So I would do mg dash, and I have all mine with underscore. So mg underscore, and I can just say YT tutorial or test tutorial. I can call it that. I could do a copy. I could bring it down here, and that's going to be the name. So once I'm done with that, I can now click here. And I'll refresh. And then now you see I have my new manager group down here. Now, if I don't like the way that this manager group structure is set up, I can do a couple different things. So if I hit over here, I can move this management group. And I don't have to keep it within. So it says new parent management group. Right now, the parent is mgdev. I can now say I'm going to do a different management group as a parent, and I can say I'm going to move it under test MG. And then I can hit save. And then now it should show up under test MG. All right, so it took a little while, but I had to refresh it. And now MG test tutorial is there as well. So now you can see that that's where my manager group is. So if I were to come up here, I can create from here. I could have done a create child group here or add a subscription here if I wanted to. And then over here, I could come over here and I can do the same thing. So I didn't have to do it the way I did it. I just came up here and did it, and then it dropped it anywhere. And you have the option to move it, right? So you could create a child group here as well, or I can add a subscription, or I have the ability to delete this management group as well. So you have all these different options here where you can move things around and you can make your structure in the right way. So now if I were to come in here and I'm like, okay, I have this new management group, but I only want certain individuals to have access to this management group. Now, when you click on the management groups, I'm going to come back to all of them. I can come over here and I can go test MG, And you see it has the whole structure of what's under test MG. And I have the ability to rename group if I wanted to. So I could come here and I could rename my management group as well. I can come here and I can see the subscriptions within this management group. I could go over here and I can see some of the resources within this management group, or even the resources within this management group as well. Activity logs, you can see what's going on within this management group. And then over here you have the IM, and you have, this is where you can now give permissions within your management group. You can now say, okay, who has access to this management group? And then one of the things we talked about in the previous video is the RBAC, right? We talked about how you can now make sure that you have the right governance in place. And you might say, okay, I have a team, but I want to make sure I'm not giving anybody too much rights. And this is where you would go about giving delegations and rights for your management groups as well. Over here, we have governance. So you have things like security. So you can see what's going on with your management groups as well. You have things like policy, certain policies that you have within your management groups. I'm not going to go too much through that. And then you also have cost that you have associated with manager groups as well. So that's pretty much it for management groups. This is kind of a quick overview. I wanted to show you exactly how you create, you can delete, and then also we'll kind of go through how you can apply permissions at manager group levels. Because you know, manager groups are very important. I always say this to clients. One of the first things I ask during discovery is, what regulatory compliance do you have? How are you bringing on identities into your environment? How is that join a mover lever? I also talk about what policies you use, and of course, how is your management group structure? If you're using policies and you don't have a management group structure, you're not really enforcing policies the right way, because you need to have policies applied to your environment and making sure that you have it for specific regions or areas or even business units within your environment. So, I did mention a lot of different things that we haven't really covered yet in this course. Some of you may know about policies, some of you may know about, delegation and rights and things of that nature. But I am going to cover some more of this stuff in further detail in other subsequent videos. I just wanted to kind of touch on those topics a little bit, so this way it can let you know the how severe managers groups can be within your organization. And when I say severe, not to scare you, but just to let you know that it is very important to structure your manager groups in the right fashion. So I want to thank you for watching this video. This is a short and sweet one for management groups and creating them. And I would urge you to start creating your own management groups in your environment. You could create them and delete them very easily. Once again, you come over here and you just go over here and you can delete it. As a matter of fact, let's delete this one. All right, now that manager group has been deleted and we don't have it anymore. So just showed you how to create and delete a management group. Also show you exactly how you would go about giving the permissions for that said management group. So if you haven't done so already, please smash that like and subscribe button. Here at Cloud Scholars, my goal is to get you from scholar to consultant, and of course, consultant to expert. Thank you, and see you next time.